Welcome back to more Explorers of Darkness. Last time we went through a few dungeons and had some emotionally moving storytelling unfold on the screen. And that's pretty much exactly what's going to happen again this time. We're going to move on and keep looking for Grovile. And I already got myself already off camera. Let's just quickly save and then we'll move on. This is one of the songs from this game that I really quite like, by the way. I don't even remember what the dungeon coming up is even called, to be honest, but I really like the ending part of this song. I'll point it out in a few seconds when it starts playing. Alright, here we go. Sealed Ruin. This part of the song right here. I love that part right there. It's really nice. Anyway, let's move on. I realized I feel like I forgot to put on the... I don't remember if I actually equipped the bands going into the last dungeon or not. Doesn't matter now, because we're already through it. Also, this tile set honestly kind of, hurts my eyes. It's very, it's very weirdly bright, in a way. I guess I respect it, because we're in the future where everything is all gray and dark, and there's no light in anymore. There's no light anymore, is what I'm trying to say, if I can stop stumbling over my words, but... They still managed to have, distinctly unique and, colorful dungeons in the future. I respect that. What I don't respect is that Probo Pass over there. Get out of here. Now, Probo Pass is pretty insignificant. I can't think of, anything noteworthy that I could do in PMD. And it's also very rare. Because I'm pretty sure the only other dungeon it even appears in is, Spatial Rift, which is very late. Spatial Rift must be linked directly to fucking Tel Aviv or some shit for Probo Pass to crawl out of it, but that's besides the point. Anyway, this is probably going to be another insignificant dungeon. No more, there's no more ghosts to worry about. Thank God. I didn't really feel like worrying about them. A lot of steel types, though, but I'm a fire type, so, we're good. Kind of pushovers anyway, and they just waste their turns doing shit like Magnet Rise for no reason. As if, we have any ground moves. I guess maybe Magnet Rise could be good, very situationally, if, you had a team member who... Ooh, Water Pulse. One of the only good TMs that's exclusive to Darkness. Wow. Too bad we're not going to be using it, but... I feel like maybe you could do something gimmicky involving Magnet Rise and, Earthquake or Magnitude or something. If, you had Earthquake and you give a team member Magnet Rise and, make them use it, or, other way around. But I feel like if you were going to be really spamming Earthquake and Magnitude, you would probably just be running, a solo team with no partners. Or, better yet, you would run a Levitate Pokemon. Because something very curious about Levitate in this game is that other immunities, Ghost being immune to normal and the other way around, you've seen, you still actually take some damage for some reason. But if you have Levitate, that's a rare instance where you actually do just completely negate the damage. If a Pokemon has Levitate, they will not take any damage from ground moves ever. Which is a bit surprising. That's not how it works in general. Well, I guess the reason it doesn't work like that in general is so you can't just get stuck in, a no-win scenario where you're up against a Ghost, but nobody actually... has any moves to properly hit it. If you're playing a Skitty or something and you encounter a Ghost type, you're literally just fucked. Because you have no choice but to use normal moves, right? So I understand that. But, I just find it a bit interesting, is that Levitate actually breaks out of that mold and retains its, complete damage negation. Which obviously makes Levitate very nice, of course, as you might expect. Not very nice as me getting paralyzed and whipped. Okay, we gotta get this goofy spaghetti monster out of our way and we'll be alright. We're just booking it through this dungeon, by the way. Yeah, it's already over. See? Piece cake. Oh, never mind, there's a midpoint. Yeah. Any day now. Yep, okay. You actually are allowed to turn around and go back to the entrance, so I guess this is a point where you're allowed to grind, in a weird way. I guess you can run through here, take all your items and crap you found, just stuff it in storage, then just run back to the entrance and just loop that. I guess you could do that. So there's some kind of grinding method down here. Whatever that's worth. Oh yeah, I forgot about this part. Making sacrifices, Nah, I'm not gonna start. Holy fuck. God, the Spiritude portrait looks so shitty. Oh my god. Maybe it was just a bit too complex of a design to really translate in portrait form when you only have so many colors to work with, but dear lord. And to the surprise of absolutely nobody, Grovile fucking jobs yet again. It actually pisses me off how much Grovile jobs, man. What a shitter. Anyway, I find it a bit weird that the midpoint is actually just playing the same music as the first half. I guess they didn't want to compose a unique theme just for this part. Bit surprising, but not really a big deal. Anyway, well, I'm assuming this part of the dungeon is just going to be well, more of the same, really. Not going to bother with that Shockwave TM, because we already have one, and we have nobody to use it on. I'm also praying that we don't step on any very annoying traps, you know, like PP0. Let's hopefully not ever have to worry about those, but I unfortunately know that sooner or later it's going to happen. So let's just pretend they don't exist until then. There's another TM down there. Let's see what that is. Vacuum cut. I mentioned vacuum cut earlier. Vacuum cut, now that we actually have it, I might as well mention it in more detail. It's interesting. What I mean is that it sucks. Because, so, vacuum cut, you might be thinking, what the fuck is that? I've never heard of that move. Vacuum cut and wide slash are two moves new to Mystery Dungeon, which I believe they are supposed to actually replicate the effects of scrolls from, like, Shiren the Wanderer. And I gotta admit, I'm a fake Mystery Dungeon fan. I've never really played any Shiren, so I don't know much about it, but basically, Vacuum Cut and Wide Slash are universal moves that literally every single Pokemon in the game can learn, and this includes stuff like Ditto, like I mentioned, or like Combi, or just Magikarp, or like any Pokemon that can't normally learn TMs, right? And Wide Slash is very, very, very good. Wide Slash is amazing. Well, before I go into that, I'll first say they're both typeless. I think I've probably mentioned this, but I'll just say it again. They're both typeless, which means they're just completely, like, you know, independent of stab. Wide Slash is very good because it actually hits into 3-tile AoE in front of you. So Wide Slash is just great. Vacuum Cut is absolute dog shit because it hits, like, it says right here, inflicts damage on all enemies in the room. How is that dog shit, you might be asking? Like, that sounds amazing. What it doesn't tell you is that that damage is actually set damage. That is a set 18 damage. Yeah. Beyond worthless. Do not ever use Vacuum Cut. It is so bad. Only 18 set damage is, like, barely even enough to kill the enemies in Beach Cave in a single hit. Like, it is a joke. Vacuum Cut is very bad. The only neat thing I can think of about it is that I want to say if you're playing as Skitty and you have Normalize, I want to say despite Vacuum Cut being typeless, it will actually become a normal type move because of Normalize, and then despite being a set damage move, you will actually gain stab on it and do slightly more damage. And you go from doing like 18 damage to like 20 something set damage, which is still bad. So just don't bother. Seriously. Just use Wide Slash instead. Wide Slash gets the same little like interaction with Normalize that Vacuum Cut does, except Wide Slash is a real move and a good move, so you know, just use that. Excuse the awkward little jump cut here. Again, just another interruption of the recording, because, you know, somebody, my dog, likes to bark a lot. Anyway. And yeah, Grovile, again, to the surprise of nobody, fucking jobbed, because he is a shitter. I have to admit, we actually are in the wrong here, because we basically violated the NAP and trespassed on Spiritomb's property. I just can't get over how ugly Spiritomb looks in PMD. It looks so shit. Anyway, this is an awkward spawn. I wish I had spawned directly beneath Spiritomb, but... Well, look, we've done enough boss fights at this point that, like, you know the drill. Let's be real here. Let's just kick the shit out of this thing. Or just have it, you know, run away and waste our turns. Oh yeah, this thing has pressure, but we got healed before this, so I don't really care. God, this thing has a lot of health. Okay, yeah, Spiritomb went down like a bitch. Another unnoteworthy boss fight even, my god, against the Jobber. I like that weird little, like, panting animation he does, though. It's funny looking. That little sequence there is pretty funny, I have to admit. I never liked that he had to specify when up his nose. Fucking gross, man. Surely, you know what, I'm not even gonna continue that line of thought. Never mind, let's just move on. Wow. Oh, there's another one. Add it to the counter. Holy shit. That counts. Fuck. You know what I should have done? We should have been keeping track of how many times we flash back to the waterfall as well, but we've already missed, like, a few of those at this point. And I've pointed it out when it happened, but now we're not gonna bother running another counter just for that stupid shit, you know? Besides, you know, this counter is getting filled up plenty enough as is. There's another one. Another one there. Temporal Tower, oh boy. So exciting. I don't think this one counts, though. That phrasing is weird. Whatever. Oh my lord. That's another instance of very weird phrasing. The fact that they consider Primal Diablo to be, like, an entirely separate entity. I guess Primal Diablo is pretty interesting as, like, a villain. Less even, like, as, like, a... Oh, there's another one. Less of as a villain and more of, like... Just, like, an antagonistic, like, force of nature, basically, that just wants to fuck over everybody. It's interesting. I guess this is, like, almost kind of like a prototype, in a way, for the villains that appear in, like, Gates and Super, which are also, like, rather than just a single malicious, like, Pokemon with an ulterior motive, it's just, like, some kind of, I can't even speak, my god. Some kind of, like, vague force of nature, just hell-bent on destroying everything for no real particular reason, other than just, you know, being an evil, malicious entity. I don't know. There's another one, by the way. I'm not even mentally keeping track anymore on that Planet's Paralysis counter. By the way, I'm definitely, I'm just gonna be tallying that up on the side. I'm not keeping track of it myself. I'm already lost. I'm not even gonna start saying it when we see it again, by the way. I'm just gonna increment that counter. I don't need to point it out every time. You can read, I would hope. Does he know? To be like that, goddamn. That's another very, very nice song that plays in that cutscene, by the way. All of, like, just the Time Gear motif variants in this game. Chef's Kiss, so good. Traitors is a strange word here, implying that we were ever in allegiance with the Olga and Dust Nori about whatever. Damn, that's crazy. Actually, Celebi is not a legendary. Celebi is mythical. No. I always thought the whole mythical designation for Pokemon was a little stupid anyway. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna complain about that. Damn, that's fucking crazy, but, yeah. It'll be all for this time. Next time, go through Dusk Forest, so I'll see you then.